Okay, so we're now on to the next part of our solving trig equations. This is where we're going to add one little tiny extra detail, and that's where we have to do a little bit of rearranging. Now, I'm actually going to split this across two videos because I want to do a lot of examples of this type of question, because this is how most of the questions do look in the exam. But I was realizing it might end up being a really long video, so it is in two little parts. So let's just jump straight into it so this video doesn't go on too long. So I've got solve the following equations for 0 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 360 degrees. So our first one, we've got 8 sine x plus 5. So what I need to do here, I need to rearrange this to get the sine x on its own. So I'll need to use all my rearranging knowledge from before. So deal with anything that's being added or subtracted. So because that's a plus 5, I take away. So I now have 8 sine x equals 5, and then I divide away anything that's being multiplied. So I divide that 8 away. So I've now got sine x equals 5 over 8. So drawing up my my cast diagram. So all silly Tom cats. Our sine x is a positive number, so I want to tick everywhere where sine is going to be positive. So it's positive in A, and it's positive where there's the s. So I'm just dealing with the x and the 180 take away x. So then the next stage, I want to start figuring out what x is. So I'm just going to quickly shovel that over. So the next thing I want to do, I want to find out what x is. So I do the sine inverse of that 5 over 8. And sine inverse of 5 over 8 is going to be 38.68 degrees. And that's if I was to write it to 2 decimal places. Or my other option, using that 180 take away x, I do 180 take away the 38.68, and that is just going to give me 141.32 degrees. Okay, question 2 then. So same idea, I need to start rearranging it in order to get the cos x on its own. So the first thing I want to do, because I've got that minus 3, I want to add 3 to both sides. And again, I'm just going to kind of shove it over to this side so I have as much space as possible. So 4 cos x equals minus 1.5, add 3, that's going to be 1.5. And then I'm going to divide the 4 away. Sorry, did not mean to zoom there. So I divide the 4 away, and that's going to leave me with cos x equals 1.5 over 4. And I could make it so the fraction's like a nice looking fraction, but we don't need to. I'm just going to leave it as 1.5 over 4. It's fine, it doesn't affect anything. So then drawing out my cast diagram. All silly Tom cats. That answer there is positive, so I want to tick everywhere where cos is positive, and that is in A and in C. So I've got my x, and then it's going to be the 360 degrees take away x. So first I need to figure out what that initial x is going to be. So I do my cos inverse of the 1.5 over 4. And that's going to come out as 67.98 when I round it to 2 decimal places. Or my other potential answer is that 360 take away the 67.98, and so that's just going to be 292.12 degrees. Okay, so next two examples, last ones of this video. I'm actually just going to make my cast diagrams a little smaller, a little bit too big. Yeah, that's fine. Just so I have space for the writing. Okay, so same idea again. So here I want to start rearranging it in order to get the tan x on its own. So I'm going to add the 4 to both sides. So I now have 5 tan x equals minus 35, add 4, that's going to be minus 31. And then I want to divide that 5 away. And so I now have tan x equals minus 31 over 5. Now here we have a negative answer there. So I want to tick everywhere where tan is negative. So typically it's positive at the A and the T. So I need to tick the S and the C. But first I need to figure out what my X is. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to aside, work out what tan x equals 31 over 5 will be. So x is just going to be the inverse tan of 31 over 5. And so that means x is just going to equal 80.84 degrees. So then I'm going to take that and use it into those two quadrants where tan is negative. So one of my answers is going to be that 180 take away the 80.84. So that's just going to be 99.16 degrees. Or my other answer is going to be the 360 take away 80.84, and that would just be 279.16 degrees. So those are my two answers there. Okay, last question then of this video. So again, I follow through the steps, need to rearrange it to get that sin x on its own. So I take away 9 on both sides. So I now have 10 sin x equals 8. And then I divide the 10 away on both sides. And so I now have sin x equals 8 over 10. And I could simplify that, don't need to, but I will actually in this case because it's a nice straightforward one. So we simplify it down and we've got 4 over 5. So that is positive, so I want to tick everywhere where sine is positive. Sine is positive at A and at S. So then I want to do my inverse sine to find out the x. And that's just going to be 53.13 degrees. Or my other answer, using that 180 take away x, where x is going to be the 53.13. And that should just be 126.87 degrees. So it's one little extra step. It's just a rearranging to get the sine, cosine, or the tangent on its own. But then everything else is the exact same as before. Let me know if you have any questions and good luck with the work.